Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to my workshop. I'm Cindy Drozda, and I'm assuming you can all hear me now. Um, so great to see everyone here. All my friends have showed up. I love it. I love it. Uh, David from sunny Oregon. Well, this is a change from some of the times. Very good. And our friend Roy from Texas. So great to see you. Dr. Bob. If I don't get to all of you, it's just because there's so many comments in here. Tony and Nikki, good to see you guys. And Michael and my good friend Todd, who we will talk about in a bit. Todd is on here twice. Okay, that's cool. Anyway, uh, this is a lot of fun. And I am here today with something a little bit different. I've got a guest today, and it's Scott Grove. Here's Scott. Yes, there
How's
he
it going,
is.
everybody?
And we're gonna get back to Scott in a little bit. But first of all, um, thank you all for being here. And what we're going to do today is this is called the Great Tip Off, and we're going to share some shop tips, Scott and I. Also, I want to hear your shop tips. How did I get that one? Oh, okay. Well, this is cool. I just discovered something. Right, the tech. I always struggle with it. We want to hear your shop tips. So if you've got a cool tip or you got a question for either of us, please type it in the comments and we'll get to them all. Oh, Duncan from the UK. Good to see you. Really good to see you. All right. So we're going to do shop tips. I want to hear yours. And you can always ask questions. First thing I'm going to do, though, here is I am going to go through our favorite wood turning calendar of events. We've got lots of stuff coming up. Summertime, life is good. Oh, and look at my shop. Everything is greening up. I love spring and summer. And here I am for another wood turning tool talk. And these are free sessions. They're broadcasts, so you see them when they're live, just like a TV show. I do every other Thursday, and the next one will be June 8th. So if you subscribe to my email list, and let me get that, you can either go here or you can go, if I have my act together, you could go to here with a QR code. If you've got your phone and you're looking at this on a computer, basically go to my website, cindydrozda.com, and click the subscribe button, and you'll get a direct link to these sessions. I sent it out a couple days ago, I believe, or it's 1 or 2 days typically for me. So yeah, that's cool. And we will now go back over here, right? Right. My friend Todd, who's here on the stream today, also does a live stream every other week. His are on Friday, and I'll be on Thursday this week, and then he'll be on Friday next week, and keeping on going like that. So you can see one or the other of us every week. And he does 2:30 Central. I do 2 o'clock Eastern. So I put them in there in UTC. So if any of you who are confused by time zones, you can always find out how far you are off of Universal Coordinated Time. Next week on Friday, we're all going to be at the AAW, except for Todd. He's going to be here in Texas, or there in Texas, and he's going to do, we are all vendor showcase going to do a live stream from the AAW show floor, and some of us who aren't at the AAW will be joining from our location. So that will be really fun. It's going to be 2:30 p.m. Central, which is 3:30 Eastern, right at the start of the last rotation of the day at the AAW. So yeah, join us for that. It's fun. I may or may not get around to sending you a link for it, but we'll work on that. because I'll be obviously out of town at the AW. I'm leaving a week from yesterday. And here it is, the trade show. Let me get that confusing stuff off of there. Um, I'm going to be in the trade show at the AAW Symposium, Louisville, Kentucky, June 1st through 4th. That's next week, Friday through Sunday. And Scott Grove, my guest today, he is also in the trade show, as are a lot of the vendor showcase folks. Joe Fleming, if he's here on the stream, I don't know. Lyle Jameson, um, Steve Worcester and Todd Raines are not going to be there. So it's going to be me, Joe, and Lyle, I guess, is it, huh? Right. And Joe and I are sharing a booth, so that'll be lots of fun. We'll have a good time. I'm also going to do some touring around and interviewing at the trade show because I get a kick out of that. Uh, so, yeah. And my next IRD, which is Interactive Remote Demonstration, that's an online class, and I do these about once a month. A little bit of a time delay there because of AAW interfering with my ability to get anything done. But Saturday, June 24th, I'll be doing threaded boxes. I don't have any graphics yet, but basically I'm going to show you 2 ways to do threaded boxes. The easy way with a bit of cost involved, and the other way, which requires a bit of skill, but no cost after you buy the one tool you need. So anyway, yeah, join me. This will be fun. I always have a really good time with those things. So yeah, that's kind of it for the upcoming events in wood turning, at least for the foreseeable future. We're going to introduce Scott Grove here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Ah! How you doing, everybody? Cindy wanted me to give you a little update. So I was actually teaching overseas. I see some people mentioning my trip to Scotland. So love Scotland. Great place. And what a wonderful name. So I'm in Western New York. So I'm in the Finger Lakes region. This is my property. Shop is on the right there. And yes, that is a 16-foot chair. But the other thing that's real notable is that if I mention anything and you want to kind of get a resource, just go to imaginewoodworking.com. That shows a landing page with all my various
and let
places to go.
Let me put him up here. Yes. And there you go.
There you go. So imaginewoodworking.com, that shows you my courses, my books, Easy Inlay, which we own, my wife and I. But the one that you want to know about is this link here. This is called a kit. It's another landing page that is a resource page. So if I mention a tool.
Scott, there's another thing we want to know about. You're offering a discount.
Oh, yeah, discount. Well, we'll get there. Okay, discount. So Easy Inlay, my wife and I owns Easy Inlay, and that is a supply of exotic inlay materials, branded and off-branded, some products that I use in my own business, and we buy cases of. I don't get a big discount, but we share that, so it's a one-stop shopping. We sell opal inlay and mother of pearl and things like that. At Easy Inlay makes inlay easy. And what I was about to say is this link here is called a kit. So if I mention a tool, you go here and everything's categorized by category, if you will. So inlay and veneering, I teach veneering and what have you. So you can usually find a link that'll take you to Amazon or directly to the manufacturer. So
you have a code for a discount, and I just put that up there in the comments or on the screen there. So if you go to easyinlay.com or imaginewoodworking.com, or how do you find Scott if you're in a hurry?
Sure. Well, if you want to go to the easyinlay.com, that takes you directly to our webpage. If you can only remember Imagine Woodworking, then there's a link to the Easy Inlay page there. And during the checkout, if you type in tip off, then you'll get 20% off of our branded products. As I said, that like Glue Boost and Solarez resin, we can't give that kind of discount. We don't even get that kind of discount. So
and if you get confused, you can always send me an email, and I will straighten you out. So
Nancy, she'll straighten you out.
I'll straighten you out. All right. That's right. Okay. So, hey, there's another thing that's going on here. for you, Scott, is you've got a giveaway for us, right?
I do. I do. So we're going to
Want to
do a
show us what it
giveaway.
is?
Let me show you what that's about here. Let me get
Okay.
my screen fired up.
And here's what you do: type hashtag easy inlay in the comments. You got to do the hashtag. That's a number sign for those of us who don't know hashtag. And easy inlay, no spaces, no capitalized. That's all you got to put in there. Easy inlay. Right.
Yeah.
So that'll enter you in the drawing.
So we're going to give away our Fiji inlays. You get 2 grams of the crushed opal. That's what was used to make
That's
this
what you do,
piece
Jeff.
here. Ooh, ah. And then you get the little sorting dishes, which we just had made, and also CA tips, which are really great. If you've never used these ultra fine tips for any inlay work, they fit on any bottle, and it just makes applying the CA glue really, really easy.
Yeah, so that's great, and you'll be able to win this little kit.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Easy Inlay. Keep your Easy Inlay entries coming, and we will make the drawing at about 10 minutes till the hour. Our session today is going to be an hour long, so that's in about 40 minutes approximately. Stick around because we don't necessarily know you, and if you win and we don't know who you are, you're going to have to get a hold of us to get your mailing address to send the stuff, right? Okay, so what we're about here today is we're going to do shop tips, and I want to hear your shop tips. So we'll start off with Scott. Scott's always a good guy to start off with, and he's going to show us some tips about CA glue. Okay, you're on.
Yeah. So what I wanted to talk about is storing CA glue. So let me just get my screens working here. Oh, we've been playing with this all day. So first of all, I don't know if you know how CA actually works. CA glue is a moisture cure, and people may or may not know that. It uses the moisture in the air to catalyze it, but it's not just it's not the water. It's actually the alkalinity of the water. So it has to be a base. So if you're working with acidic wood, the acid in that wood may inhibit your CA kick. Just a side note. So if you have CA glue, one misnomer is to say, "Oh, I'll take my CA glue and I'll store it in the refrigerator. That'll make it last long." That's true and false. If you have an unopened bottle of CA glue, put it in the refrigerator. You can store it there for a year easily, and it'll be just good. But once you open it, what happens is you now have warm, moist air inside the bottle. And if you put it back in the refrigerator will condense out that moisture and shorten the shelf life of your CA glue. So once you open it, don't put it in the refrigerator. I repeat, do not put it in the refrigerator. What I do is I have a coffee can here, and I store my CA glue in there, and I use these little desiccant packs. Little gel packs that you get in every electronic gizmo going. I actually buy them in volume, and you can buy the ones that you can reuse, meaning they turn color from pink to blue, and once they're blue, you put them in a microwave and you can rejuvenate them. That will give you a dry environment, and just keep that sealed, and your CA glue will last. Now, of course, this is only for areas that are wet and humid and moist, because I don't think Cindy has that problem.
Well, yeah, actually, with as far as I'm concerned, I live in a dry climate, and I leave my CA bottles out on the bench with the lid off, and then they last just for years. I don't have to do anything to try to preserve CA. So it kind of depends where you live then. But yeah, great tip, Scott. So yeah, don't forget to type your comment, your hashtag easy inlay in the comments. And also, let's hear from some shop tips that other people have got. Thank you, Larry, for the appreciation. I enjoy bringing some excitement to you, and you can see Scott there off in the distance. Keep an eye on that thumbnail because Scott's liable to do something weird. He always does. Yeah, so I'm waiting to hear somebody in the audience give us a tip. I don't mean give us a tip. I mean share a shop tip with us, and I'm going to share one. This is something that I got a tip from watching Cade Bolger's IRD. And, that's just a segue into you always learn something. Even if I don't care about the subject, even if I don't know the person, even if I think I already know so much about wood turning that I couldn't possibly learn more, I learned something from everyone's demo. So this is really cool. And I have to admit, I stole it from Cade. If you have a live center like this one, this is the one way, but the robust is the same way. This end with the threads on it is 3/4 10 thread. And you can get a crutch tip from the hardware store that fits just perfectly on there, and use that as a bumper for, Cade used it when he was doing a goblet, and he just advanced his tailstock into the goblet cup to hold it steady. But lots of things can be done with this concept. And one of the things I did was I took this gizmo here, which is a rubber chucky device, and it just goes in my number 2 Morse taper in the headstock, and it's got 3/4 10 threads on it, so I can put that crutch tip on there and turn it. And I made a little rounded shape so that when I put that in my whatever I'm trying to stabilize with the tailstock, it's a little better shape than this is. And I was thinking I might try making a cup chuck this way. But here we are. We have a few items in the chat. I love this. First was a question from Jeff. Scott, maybe you can answer this one. He was taught to store his CA bottles upside down. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that will help. But if the
Where are you? Where are you?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you,
I'm
but
sorry.
we can't see you.
Right.
There you are.
So yeah, storing a CA glue sounds like a great idea because it'll prevent the warm, moist air from getting inside. If you got to think it through, if I have a bottle, there's warm, moist air in there, and if I turn it around, without
you get
dribbling
glue
it
all
over
over the
place,
bench for one thing.
if I turn it upside down, the warm, moist air is still in there, so you're not evacuating that, and it's going to prevent warm, moist air from continuing to get in, but you still got it trapped in, and it will condense out. When I do large carvings, I actually buy CA glue by the quart. And another trick to evacuate that warm, moist air, and this doesn't just work for CA glue, but for varnishes and anything that's moisture or urethane casting resins, is using argon gas. There's these cans that are called Bloxy-Ox.
Bloxygen.
Bloxygen
Yep.
is another one. There's a variety there.
Okay.
The cans weigh like nothing, but you spray that in. That it's heavier than air. That will push all the warm, moist air out. And again, it's the moisture you're trying to get rid of. So that it's just argon gas. So if you have a MIG welder, then using a MIG welder, I'll just go over my MIG welding gun and just squirt that into the can. But I also have these cans.
Just don't turn on the oxygen at the same time or the sparker. Right.
Yeah.
So anyway,
no, but that's a great tip.
Yeah. And Todd's got a really good tip here too, is to get all the trapped CA out of the nozzle. And sometimes even in a dry climate, what's in the nozzle will harden up. Yeah, I've had that happen. And this is a great one. If you're gluing something up with Titebond, this is from Tony in Texas, a couple of drops of CA acts as a clamp. That way the yellow glue activates the CA and you get it held in place. That's great. I'm going to definitely remember that one.
Yeah,
really,
we do
really
that a lot
good.
also in curve lamination.
Here's what he meant. The yellow glue activates the CA, so it clamps right in place there. Yeah, and John is saying that's what he does. Otherwise, they seem to dry up. I'm not sure if you're talking about putting them upside down or burping the little bit out of there. Oh, and here's Joe Fleming. He's with Vendor Showcase. You can see him at the AAW Symposium. A paint can filled with concrete with a 1/2-inch EMT conduit in it.
Making a heavy base.
This is a cool tip.
Yeah,
the concrete makes a heavy base for a desk lamp. That is great because then that little stud on the bottom of your desk lamp fits right into the EMT conduit hole.
Yeah,
Excellent, excellent.
that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a very good one. Thank you,
Yeah,
Joe.
because I got these tripods all over the place, and I'm always tripping over them and what have you. So reducing
Oh, and
the
those
weight,
swing
the
arm
footprint is good.
lamps that I put them in a hole drilled in my desk, and they don't stay put, and
No,
then you can't move it. It's stuck wherever you drilled your hole, whether you like that or not. So, that's really cool. I'm gonna have to try that one. Um, and you can use it for the camera also, and that means you could also, like Scott was talking about, all the things stands he has for his cameras all over the place. Uh, yeah, you could make a bigger one and put it on the floor. That's a great idea. Uh,
so here's
yeah.
another little tip
Okay.
about CA glue. Um, so most of you probably know if you take a little CA glue and you put some on there and you hit it with the accelerator, you get this bloom and blushing, right? And that could be a real pain in the ass, I think is the technical term, right? You'll see that bloom on you in a second.
You're
But
not
one
supposed to say ass on live TV, Scott.
oh, I'm sorry. Okay, pain in the butt. So that's happening right there. That's called a bloom, a blush. It's thermal runaway. But Glue Boost, I really love. Much higher quality um, activator, and you can see it kicks it just as fast, but it doesn't bloom or blush. So you don't lose the sort of the clarity. So that's one thing that I like. Why I like the Glue Boost product, and
And you can
just
use that accelerator uh,
and you
on
can use it.
other brands of CA, right?
That is correct. So there's the tight bond, and here's the glue boost, and you'll see it's not blooming and blushing that also. So it's really a um, great product. Obviously, a little more expensive. This is a Luthier's glue boost. So it's I'm gonna make sure I get this upside down here. So just a tip there if you're ever having a problem with that. And lastly, CA glue actually comes in two different types. There is an adhesive,
Oh,
which
I don't want
most
that.
CA glues are people familiar with, and then there's a finishing CA. So that also is why I like the glue boost. They actually make a finishing product because it has a flexible component in there. Will move with the wood. So another little tip difference between I use Titebond a lot when I'm using for gluing, but when I'm using for finishing or doing my
Oh,
inlay pieces, that's when I want to use the fill and finish.
now let's get
So
that a little bigger
there is a
here.
difference for that.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Scott. That's good to know. CA is not all the same thing. Different brands are different. I wanted to put in a plug for the aerosol accelerator. It seems expensive, but you know what? It never all evaporates out the nozzle, which has happened to most of us a lot with the little spritzer bottle thingies. And you hardly use any actual product every time you spray because it's atomized. It's just a lot more efficient. So it never dries up on you, and it's more efficient to use. So it actually seems expensive, but I find it to save money. Oh, and let's see what else we got here. JP Woodwork did some easy gold laying today. Um,
Yes.
Gold laying. Yes, very good. Very good. I love to see it. Oh, and by the way, I do a sharing session um, about once a month, and there's where it's a Zoom meeting where you can come and show your work. And I love to see what people are doing, and everyone else does too. And it's a great sharing thing. Don't have one planned at the moment, but stay tuned and sign up for my email list, and you'll find out all about it. And so here, Dances with Aardvarks is making a gantry that's like an overhead hanging system for cameras, lights, flex shafts. Oh, flex shafts. Now there's something
Yes.
that you really need is to get the flex shaft out of the way and just have it right above you and bring it down to the work.
I can't
Ah,
believe
yes.
someone just mentioned that. I'm going to change my screen here real quick. I got a gantry that
Okay.
I
Oh, cool.
installed. Let me and of course now my keyboard is
Okay, Tim, we'll
asleep.
get to yours later. We're gonna have
Oh,
Scott. Scott,
hold
where
on.
are you? Where are you? He's
I've got
missing
to
in action.
there we go. I don't know if my if my
There's the
op
actual
spot
guy right there.
will my
We're
op spot
getting
go
the
all the way
we're
around?
getting the yeah, I don't think so. I think it's to get stuck somewhere and you have to go back. Well,
Hold
this
on.
is all very seasickness
Yeah, bear
enticing
with
here.
me. There we go. I've never done this. Hey, it works. So if
Umbrellas.
you're ever doing power carving, so I was just carving there it is there. So
Oh,
I was just power carving a piece. I got to grab the carver here. So if you're ever doing power carving, I have this tool balancer. So this is my body grinder, and you can buy these at McMaster Car, and
you
they're
can't see the
adjustable, so you can
grinder.
create the tension, and it takes all the weight off of it. So it gives
Hold
you a
up
lot
that
more.
grinder for us.
Excuse me.
Can't see the grinder.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right, I got to zoom.
Just
I
hold it
got it.
up. Something.
Hold on, I can zoom out.
Okay.
That's what this is for.
Okay. Now
Oh,
we can
thank
see your
you. I'm
whole
in the
shop.
other.
Wow, what a shop you have there.
Okay,
Oh,
so
and the
here
gantry, I see it now more
I
clearly.
wasn't expecting it to do this side here. So this is the
Angle grinder.
gantry with a tool balancer. I've got a mid-sized body grinder on here. It takes all the weight off. I
Wow.
can work with one hand, and then again on a gantry allows me to move back and forth, so I can carve an entire piece, which
Yeah,
is over
very
there. I could
cool.
probably show you that.
Very, very cool.
So that's kind of
Okay,
fun.
so Tim has a comment with an air compressor beside his lathe. He uses the low pressure to blow off the lathe and the turnings, and it's quieter than the great big compressor. Yeah, I get that. That's a nice thing to have. Definitely. Oh, and here we have our friend Lyle Jameson. He's one of the vendor showcase folks, and you'll be able to see him at the AAW. And I seem to have regained my audio.
I can still hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I know, but I've got a different speaker on today and it's giving me trouble.
Well,
So tech,
I'm
don't you
gonna
love
jump
it?
in. I'm gonna jump in here about that compressor. Um, I got a big compressor and all that, but sometimes it's running and I just want to work quiet. I'm in the zone. I'm listening to some nice music. I have this canned air
Hmm.
around, and sometimes you're just doing something, a little. You just need to blow something out. You just hit that, and you're good. And it's not sort of a intense level of working. Sometimes I'll be here after dinner and
Yeah,
I just want to be quiet in the groove. I don't want to be officially working and have all a power equipment on. I'm just doing a little inlay or something. And I have these canned air all around the shop just in case, I don't have to fire up the compressor. I got
and
a big
that
two-stage
sounds like what
compressor.
Tim is after with his airbrush compressor is quieter and low key and
Yeah.
doesn't use all the juice. By the way, if you don't realize how much juice that uh, air compressor uses, it's really kind of an electricity hog. So yeah, well taken, Tim. And we got any other tips from anybody out there? If you don't chime in with something, one of us is going to have to say something.
I'm going for it.
Okay, Scott, let's see what you have next. What do you got?
I got to zoom. Let me get to a different camera that might make a little more sense here. There we go. I just got. I saw this on Facebook. I'm a sucker for Facebook ads, and it came across my feed. And this is what's the brand name on this? This is an ARP 150. It's a batter operated airbrush. It comes with an extra battery, and they work really great for color work and what have you. Really happy with this a lot. When you're just
Yeah,
doing a
so
little
why do
touch
you
up,
need a battery for an airbrush?
because this is battery operated, so you don't need a compressor.
Oh,
So this is just for,
whoa.
again, when you're just in that zone, you don't want to fire up the compressor and have all the noise. It's just really really nice for color touch up work. For just on the
Wow.
lathe, or a lot of times I'm actually working in the field. I do a lot of historic furniture refinishing or repair for the University of Rochester, and you got to do little toning or something. This is a
That's
great little
cool.
thing,
Is it
and
atomized well enough to make a good finish?
oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's great. This is called neatandhandy.com. See that right there? So again, it was one of those, it wasn't a Kickstarter, but it's kind of seemed like it. I was skeptical, but it wasn't that expensive. I don't remember what I
Neatandhandy.com.
paid for it, but it was, if I can zoom in. a little
Well,
more
that's
here on
pretty
that.
cool. Yeah, there we are. Now we can see it.
Yeah.
And
So
feel free to type that in the chat, Scott, if you can. If you can,
yeah,
is it rechargeable? Is the
neatandhippie.com.
question rechargeable?
Yeah, yeah, it's rechargeable. It has a USB, uh, thing on it somewhere. I think it's a plug. Oh, the USB is plugged into the wall, but yeah, it's right here. It
Cool.
just recharges, and you have
That
two
seems
batteries that you
cool.
can change. And again, I'm
Yeah.
not using it for you know finishing a whole bedroom set or something, but
No.
it's a great little
Uh,
touch up kit that
and
I really really enjoyed.
And here's a tip from Duncan: the more PowerPoints, the better. Never be afraid to rearrange your workshop layout. There's some good advice that you might have set it up 10 years ago. You might have set it up last month, but then you change how you work. You buy a new machine. So yeah, rethink your life whenever you think you need to. Oh, and here we have Todd, Lyle, and both of them are members of uh, vendor showcase. You can see us at the AAW. Oh, I should put me in there. Yeah, let's have me in here. I'm just messing with the tech here. Very good. So, yes, this is streaming to Scott's YouTube, supposed to be, and his LinkedIn. Um, so if you're on Scott's mailing list and you found us, welcome. It's great. We're trying to get this tech to work, and all those things. And Scott and I have been working hard on this stuff. Uh, so
No,
yeah,
Cindy's been doing all the work. I'm just sort of fumbling along. I'm I'm less of a techie than she is. So,
well, we both
but
fumble. Yep.
yeah, but
So
they are being recorded, so you can go back and watch the recordings on our YouTube channels.
right, and good point that this, wherever it is that you're watching, maybe not Twitter, but YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Scott's YouTube and Scott's LinkedIn, and StreamYard, which is the one, if you joined on my subscriber list and you got a link in the mail to register, that takes you to StreamYard, which is another platform. And there's a recording that's left up, and it's got all the flubbing in it and all the comments and everything. So it's just like watching it live. And that stays up until one of us gets embarrassed and takes it down. So let's have another tip. Here's Jeff with for router inlay templates. He uses painter's tape on both surfaces. Oh, I've heard this, and I didn't think of it for router templates. Put
Yeah,
masking tape on both surfaces and CA between the masking tape, and then it's about like double stick tape, but imagine it releases easier. And that is a great tip, Jeff. Thank you very much.
I got one on that subject.
All right.
So and it kind of astounds us. That's why I love these forums that we do this. You just pick up these great little tips that you're like, how come I didn't know this? I mean, I've been doing this for 45 years, right? And just last summer I learned this one. I also teach at Mark Adams School of Woodworking, and one of my students, mentioned this, in which I love the back and forth. I never assume I know everything. And love to learn from my students. So the tip is denatured alcohol will release hot glue. So if you're using hot glue to
Yeah.
glue something to a faceplate or two pieces together, in the past, I've heard you put it in the microwave, you remelt it, you cut away at it, just
Yeah.
spray DNA alcohol on it, and it just releases the bond. It's the
David
greatest
used to
thing.
spend hours picking it out with an awl out of all the crevices. So, hey, on that note, I've got a tip or a thingy that I did with using that technique. So let's go there. Uh, here we are. Here we are. And I've got just a couple of pictures of, I wanted to slice off the bottom of this burl where there was plain wood so that I wouldn't have to just turn it all into chips. I could use it for pen blanks or inlays or something. So I clamped it. I made this fixture. You'll see it here in a second. I clamped the burl to that fixture and I put some hot glue on it at the top. And then I put hot glue all the way around it. Let's see if we can see the fixture here. And no, maybe in the next one. And then I lined it up on the bandsaw. There it is. It's a single point fence that I had, and I just screwed a piece of MDF to it. And now I had something I could hot glue that burl on. And then I just took denatured alcohol. I didn't spray it. I have one of those lab squirt bottle things, and I just sprayed it all around, and it came right off. It held really well, and then it came right off. So that
And
was
getting a bottle like this helps keep the acetone from
that's
evaporating.
what I had. That's what I had.
So
Uh-huh.
I've got these, and then I got the twist bottles also. But I find this battle works really well because if you leave it in a uncapped bottle, you come back the next day and the bottle's like halfway empty because it evaporates so well. And
Yeah, right.
hopefully everybody knows CA glue. If you glue your fingers together with CA, acetone is what releases it. Hopefully everybody
Acetone
should
or
know
nail
that. But
polish remover, which is also acetone. And here's
yeah,
a question for you, Scott. Have you
yeah.
tried a bowling ball to support a lathe chuck to hold turnings for power carving? Jim built one from a
Tried a
free ball
bowling
he got from a
ball to
bowling alley.
support the lathe chuck. Oh, right. Yeah, that's great. Oh, but I got a better one for you. Okay. Cindy, you got to do a demonstration. I got to go get this one. I got a poor
Okay.
man carving jig. I'll go grab it.
Okay. Okay. Well, while we're waiting for Scott, we got a couple of suggestions and comments here. Joe uses the tape on both surfaces trick, but with hot melt glue. So again, you've got an easier release, and you don't have to clean off any glue. And on curved surfaces, yeah, that's cool. And David's advising us to clean the pitch from carbide circular saw blades. Soak the blade in a shallow pan of straight, simple green cleaner. Well, that's cool. I usually use that easy off oven cleaner, which is horribly toxic, awful stuff.
I got
So
another one for you
simple green. Yeah. Okay.
for cleaning your
Okay. What
blades.
do you got here?
The bug be gone, for your windshields when you drive across the country, you got all the bugs.
Oh,
They make this spray. I think it's called Bug Be Gone, and it dissolves the proteins and what have you. So I found that that's like the best cleaner for cleaning, and it's like a simple green. It's non-toxic, sort of, somewhat.
right.
Everything's toxic these days,
Right.
but
Well,
it
I
just
don't know.
melts the
Lesser
the
toxic,
resin
maybe.
off.
And Duncan's using a hot melt glue on a sacrificial surface. And I've done that kind of thing too, mostly with CA, but you put it on the area that's going to get turned away or cut away. Okay, Scott, you've got something exciting to show us. And
Well, the
is
bowling
it
ball is a
this?
great idea, and that's sort of like an engraving. If you ever seen an engraving vise, it's like a heavy ball of like a shot put, and it's a vise. And with that sort of technique, you turn the ball to do your engraving. If you ever done any metal or scrimshaw, sometimes instead of trying to draw with your hand, it's counterintuitive, but you turn the ball or you turn the thing you're engraving and not move your hand because
So
you
what's
got to
that
get the
thing you
right
got
angle.
there in front of you? It looks like a bunch of
So
pipe parts.
this is someone mentioned the bowling ball, which is a great idea. This is what I call a poor man's carving vise. So I've got a bunch of. This is my small one. So it's black pipe. This is probably a 2-inch black pipe with the sort of the mounting screw, and then you get a T, and then what you do is you get an eye hook on the end here, right? And you sort of put
Oh.
that through, and you get yourself some washers, and you reduce this side down. Everybody can kind of see what's going on here, hopefully, right? With just some reducers, so it kind of holds this sort of center. And the only thing that you got to kind of buy, or if you not buy, but try to find, is some sort of wing nut thing.
Oh, you
Then
can make one. You can make one.
yeah,
Drill and tap a hole in a piece of aluminum, cut it on the bandsaw.
there you go.
Yeah.
So then you
Yeah.
take, this is 1/2-inch black pipe, and I don't know if you can see that I've took a grinder and I put flats on this to make it an octagon. And I even
Oh.
then on the inside here took a hacksaw and sort of just gave this inside area a little tooth.
You
And then
mean
I
you
can,
roughed it up so it'll
and then the last thing I did is I ground, rounds on here. So the idea is I can put this in, and this is not my faceplate, so I can mount something on here,
Can you
right?
mount your chuck on there?
Yes, you can mount your chuck on here, and you could do this with a larger diameter, and then the idea is when you tighten this up,
Yeah, it holds it wherever you put it.
you can do two things. So let me zoom out. Wrong way. So I can, by loosening this, I can turn this way, so you can rotate your piece around this way. And then you can also rotate it this way by loosening it just a little more if you want to work sideways or what have you. So you can mount this, and you can
Right.
really work this a lot, because I've used to do these large chainsaw vases. Um,
So this
Here's
is
a
just a
question.
single axis rotation, but by turning it, you get the other axes.
Correct.
So
You can
it's not
really
the
rotate this
total
around.
ball flex mount like some people have, but it was cheap.
Yeah, and I bolted this to a large log outside, so when I'm working
Huh.
with a chainsaw. So my
Cool,
question
cool stuff.
is a vase? What's the difference between a vase and a vase? I was told a vase is anything larger than 36 inches. So
I think a vase is anything that costs more than $100.
I love it. Okay, I got another one. If no one else,
Okay. Oh
can I
wait,
keep
we
going?
got
Oh,
it.
here
We
we
got a
go.
tip here. Oh no, but it was actually a question first for you, Scott. Where do you get those lab squirt bottles?
Oh, Google. Google knows
And
everything.
Sue thinks that you could get one at Lowe's.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm
well,
gonna say another suggestion: Amazon.
yeah, Amazon, but there's a place. If you, again, this is where the kit comes in. I don't recall if I've got it listed here, but I get it from a lab supply, because I get all these different size ones. Also, if you're looking for sort of large syringes and what have you, which we'll get to in a
Yeah.
second. But um,
Oh, you got something else for us, Scott?
oh, of course, I got two more things here.
Okay.
Someone
Okay.
mentioned gold leafing. They did a gold leafing project, so thought I might show them. Actually, I got three. Do we
Oh,
have time for
I want
three?
to see the one where you used a CA to make an invisible chip out repair.
Oh, okay. Well, but I
That's a
started
really
this one.
cool technique.
That is a cool technique. I'll do this one real quick first. So if you're doing gold leafing, Cindy and I both teach and do that. The key to any really nice gold leaf project is a super smooth, glossy finish, right? Before you even apply the leaf. And if you're working with, say, like oak or any open pore wood, sealing that grain can be laborious. You can do CA glue or a million coats of lacquer, or there's a whole variety of ways, paste fillers. But as you can tell, I like to work fast, right? So this is a Solarez grain sealer. And if you don't know anything about UV cure resin, again, for me, I just like to keep working. You get inspired, you're working, you're motoring along, and then you put some glue on, and you're like, oh, I gotta wait. I gotta come back tomorrow for the epoxy to set up or something. And I just, when I'm in the zone, I want to keep working. So UV cure resin sets with UV light. So here I'm just going to trowel this in to the surface, fill all that grain. Then I'm going to hit it with UV light. I can go out in the sunlight, broad spectrum, or I can use what's called a torch. And it's really important that
Don't you have to wear glasses?
you have to wear glasses. You want to make sure you
Okay.
wear glasses, because the light, even if I'm looking down at this, the UV will reflect off that surface and get you. So don't be fooled like, oh, I'm not looking in directly into the beam. The UV can reflect. But the other key is you want to make sure that your torch is calibrated to the resin that you're using. So Solarez is 385 nanometers. Alumilite is 410. There's another one that is
So point
uh,
being, buy the
by the right
flashlight
light. Yeah,
for the resin you're using, and often when you buy resin, they'll sell you the correct
correct.
nanometer of light
Exactly. So
on the from the same people. And so look at that, it's dry already. Oh,
it's already
Scott,
dry, and I
before
can
you
go
move on to
ahead
your
and
next one,
sand
I'm going to
this.
have to show an example, but let's
Yeah.
see what you got here.
I mean, it powders up really nice,
Yeah.
and it's dry and done, and it's good. In this case, since oak is very porous, I might do two applications, but I
Okay.
could then go ahead and leaf this, and I would have a perfectly
Yeah.
baby butt smooth surface.
Oh, and
So
here's
that's
something
that.
I discovered. I learned this tip from Scott, of course, is with that stuff, I found that I could, when I gold leaf something, I'm just doing the rim here, and I put that grain filler sealer by Solarez, the UV cure stuff, on the piece while it was on the lathe. just brushed it on the natural edge. And this saved me so much time, because it used to be what I would do is I would put on about 6 coats of polyurethane and let it dry to get the glossy surface I need to get a good, bright, shiny gold leaf. So yeah, and Scott, I believe, is setting up to do something else. There you
Yeah,
are.
this is actually how I got into UV resin. Again, before I started turning,
Mhm.
you know, I was a flatlander, so a veneer was my specialty, and I'd be doing large commissions and conference tables. And as you know, with veneer, you get a little chip out. There's not a lot of room to sort of sand it out, right? But then I started using this for turnings and hardwood also. Obviously, when in doubt, I'm trying to get the right a good angle here. I want to make sure that you guys can see. There we go. Okay. Woo! We
Get that
see that.
guy under control.
This is that I got to blow. Nancy or Cindy suggested I
Oh, was that your
blow this. That's
joystick
my
acting up?
joystick. Is my
Yeah.
joystick is? How about
Oh,
I just
by the
do?
way, I have a tip for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, always have a backup. You should have
Yes,
another joystick, Scott, so you just unplug that one, plug this one in.
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Okay, so hopefully
backups for everything.
you can see that. Okay, so the issue here is why do you see a chip? Oh, which is a better angle? You can see that chip, right?
Yeah, you've got some tear out there, like planer
Yeah,
chip out
little
or
tear
something.
out. Okay. Um, yeah, I'm going to stick with that other with the other angle here.
Probably
Okay.
would.
Oh, we were playing with this the whole time.
Move the piece over.
I am. Well, that makes me feel like a weatherman. You know, I don't know how those weather people do it. Okay, that's good enough. So the reason you see the chip
Oh,
is,
and
and this could be a chip or it could just be a dent. Actually, you could use this for a dent also, right? And the reason you see a dent or a chip, people say, "Oh, I got to fill out with wood filler." You don't want to do that because you're changing the color and you're going to have this big sort of zit on there, and then you got to hand paint it in. And more importantly, if you're dealing with figured wood, with has chatoyance, right? You're never going to match it because these uh, curls change depending which way you look at it, right? From one direction it'll be light, from another direction it'll be dark. So by filling it with a filler, you're never gonna avoid, you're never gonna fix that. So uh, the other reason you're gonna see this is because the surface is one, if it's a dent, there's a rim, right? And a reflection usually hits the rim of that crater, if you will, and that's what makes you see it. And if it's a
mm,
chip out, what you see is you see all sorts of jaggedness on the bottom. So the first tip, if you will, is you got to smooth that roughness out by actually sanding it deeper. Now, this doesn't work for veneer too well, but it works great for hardwood. In addition, since my chip here is, or my figure is sort of this direction, I don't want to sand a divot going this way. I want to sort of try to sand or
oh,
accent the sanding divot in the direction of the figure. That's going to help hide this because you will be able to see it. Don't get me wrong. If you can sand it out, sand it out. But there are certainly situations that you can't. You gotta just do what you can. And lastly, I'm going to put on my visor because I work with these visors so I can really see what I'm doing.
that's a
And
magnifier, correct?
yeah, okay. Side note. So if you're buying, oh, I'm all over the place here. So if you're going for these visors, um, you want to get the ones that have this feature. So you can change the focal distance of your visor. This one has two
Oh,
magnifiers that go up and down. So I can change the magnifier. Plus, it has a little zip thing here. Um, put this on and demonstrate it. So it goes up and down, has a light, right? It has this so I can see when I'm working with
oh, a loop to give you extra magnification in addition to
yeah,
what you've got
exactly.
in
Because
front of your eyes.
I need to really look fine. But I love these, and I bought a case of them, so I will be having. I usually bring like 10 to AAW, so and they always sell out really quick. So if you're interested in one of these, plus the head thing locks and it's really comfortable. I've got a whole bunch of these, and I love it. and that's why I just bought a case of them. So I need to get back to my chip here. Okay, right?
And while you're fumbling with that, Scott, I want to say just a quick public service announcement. What he was talking about was the AAW Symposium. It's next weekend, not tomorrow, but the one after. And he's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Come visit us in the trade show. Okay, Scott, back to you.
Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and just grind this chip out. That chip looks like it's a fracture, so this is a little more than I usually do. I'll do one over here too. It might be a little easier. Usually I just have to do something like that.
Sue says, Scott, you're a little bit late here. She needed this tip last month.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said, Sue said she needed this tip last month. You're late.
Oh yeah, that's me. I'm always a day late and $1 short, no matter what I do. So yeah, I know how that goes. Okay.
And here's another aside to this. Could you use steam or a moist cloth on a hot iron to raise the grain? Duncan, that is what I always used to do in the wood shop but it only works for dents that are compressed. It doesn't work for chip out like Scott's got. So
Exactly.
carry on, Scott.
Yeah, you always want to do all the other things first. This is sort of like the last resort. But the point is, yeah, it won't work for our chip out because you have a jagged edge and there's no material. If it's a dent, that usually you'll be able to steam that out. So getting back to here, as you can see, I've gone with this. I've gone with the figure. That's really the key element here. And then what I use is the Solares doming resin, which is really great stuff. It has high surface tension. And
now I've got a question about that, Scott, while you're showing this doming resin. Will it adhere to the wood just as well as the grain filler sealer, or do you need to put the sealer down first as a primer?
No, it'll adhere to the wood just as well.
Okay.
And then there's a couple other tricks here. So this is a little tricky because I got an edge, but we're going to go ahead and just do this. You know, this is not a finished job. And of course, I got an empty one.
So while you're getting that together, Larry would like to know the brand of that magnifier you have.
I don't have the brand with me. As I said, I went through a whole bunch of them over the years. I found this one, and then when I teach, all my students are like, "Wow, we really like yours. Where do you get it?" And then I went and I bought a couple cases of them, so I'll be bringing a case. We are in the process of redoing our website, and I would say within a month, this is the Easy Inlay website. Within a month, it'll be up and running, and it'll allow us to then quickly and easily put things like this that we don't carry ongoing. And if you subscribe to our mailing list, when we come up with like, hey, Scott found this visor, we've got 2 dozen of them. They're
well, I want to buy one.
Yeah,
I've got an Optivisor and it's great, but it doesn't have a light on it, and it doesn't have the loop on it, and it doesn't have a movable focal length. So
yeah,
I want one.
These are really great. And again, I probably have a half a dozen of them that I've tried out.
You're gonna have to go to Louisville to find one, right?
Yeah. Well, email me. If you get on our list, we'll let you know when we post them, and then they'll go like hotcakes. I'm always testing and trying stuff. Some things like our opal. I've got this one. I got 1,000 grams of opal, and the color's okay. We just didn't. It's a dark red, and we picked a lighter red. So we got to get rid of it.
Here's another question for you, Scott. I know it's getting off the track. We're going all over the place. You were going to finish that chip fill there, but Dances with Aardvarks wants to know if you have any tips for inlaying on a curved surface. I think I know what you're going to say.
Yes. Well, that's why inlay on a curved surface. It all depends on what you're inlaying. But we have a bunch of maybe at the end I'll run this ring video, but the doming resin is really, really great because it has a high surface tension.
Yep.
And you can do inlays on a curved surface as tight as a ring, and it has good hang time. And then you use the the torch and it sets the resin right away. So yeah,
Yep.
we do a lot of curved, and Nancy, oh sorry, Cindy and I did this
Yeah,
collaboration
yeah.
where we did
And
this
I did
box.
another one recently where I did so that right there, it's got inlay around the curved surface of on a
Yep,
small radius like that. And I did another one recently where I did that. And that doming resin keeps the opal chips in the groove,
yep.
even though it's a curve 360 degrees around. So there's the tip for that is
So there's the ring. Hold on. Oh, sorry, I got to turn the sound off. There, there's.
and you're still in the middle of
I
your
know.
other
Well,
one.
there you go.
Uh,
That's inlaying. That's inlaying that. So let's get back to what we were doing. Um,
sorry.
so the beauty of this, and maybe this is a good example, is this resin is still wet. I could go to lunch. I could come back the next day, and it's not gone anywhere. So that's why you're not in a hurry. And if you get the phone rings, you take a call. So this fills up just really well. So I could go ahead and hit this with the light. It will set in 15 seconds, and I can sand and keep working. But the tip of the tip, this is the double tip. I just had it. Hold on. Here it is use a piece of Mylar, because of course I'm lazy and I want it to be easy. So can you see the Mylar there? So if I put the Mylar
Yep.
on there, it flattens that out. I can even take a squeegee and squeegee this flush with
I
the
know what
surface.
I know what the next question is going to be. Where do you get Mylar? Oh, so you UV cure it right through the
Right.
Mylar,
Yeah.
and that way you get a perfect, smooth, flush surface.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Well, it's not
love that.
perfect, but it saves you from a lot of sanding. Now, when you're dealing with
It's a lot more
thin
perfect than
veneer,
if you just let it dome up.
yeah. So that's perfectly smooth. If I
Great,
sand this now, you can then see. Actually, I don't want to. First, I
great.
want to show. I don't know if you can kind of see how that figure is already going
Uh-huh,
straight through,
uh-huh.
right? So let's
You
make
had
it.
to kind of match it on a figure line there
Yeah, I matched it on a
when you
figure line. Where are we here?
yeah, where you
Hold on.
you
There, you
dremeled
see,
out the
see,
groove right on a figure line so it would
correct.
blend
So
in
see how
better.
now it's obviously shinier, so it's standing out. But you can see how
Yeah. And
the
And this is a flat piece, but that would work equally well on a
oh
turn
yeah,
piece.
absolutely. And I'll go ahead and sand this. Let me get my head out of the way.
By the way, we're
I don't know how
about
you do it, Cindy.
we're due for a raffle drawing here, Scott.
Yeah. Well, let me
You
just
go
finish
ahead and
that.
keep working on that, and I'm gonna talk about what we're doing there for the raffle. Uh, we're we're going to give away a opal kit from Easy Inlay, and you'll get some Fiji opal, which is my favorite color of them, and some CA glue tips and uh, a little sorting tray. And what else was there, Scott?
We're giving. Oh, I'm sorry, tweezers. That's the other.
Tweezers. That's
That's
right.
the
So you
other
can
thing.
pick
I
up
did
those
forgot to
little
mention
opals
the
if you have
tweezers.
fat fingers. Oh, you did mention them. I just forgot. Okay, so you've got 10 seconds to get your hashtag easy inlay in the comments to enter this drawing. And we've got a question here. Wouldn't it be better to use sanding dust and CA to fill that in? And Jeff, I believe what Scott was saying was that if you fill it with anything like sanding dust or filler or something, you're going to see a color change. And what he's doing is making it like you're looking through the clear window at it rather than having a masking of it. So I think this is a great tip, and I'm definitely going to use this one. But what we want to really
So can
do
you see it?
here,
See it right here?
yeah, you
That's
barely
actually
can
right
see
here.
it. Yeah, you can't see it, right?
Yeah. So it
So
really
once you
helps.
put your finish over it, it's going to blend right in. So we now have a giveaway screen here, and we've got 43 entries. So while I'm blathering on, you have another couple seconds to put your entry in there, and we're going to give away the opal kit from Easy Inlay, courtesy of Scott. Thank you so much, Scott, and thank you
Sure.
for being here today. This has been a lot of fun. So
Oh
when
no,
I
it's
click the
great.
draw button, oh, it's up to 46. Oh, when I click the draw button, we're going to choose a winner. So I hope this person is here. Okay, here we go. Okay, somebody's going to be a lucky winner. And it is.
Oh, ah, ah,
Yay!
hey!
Roger Kent. Congratulations, Roger. Uh, we're looking forward to seeing what you do with some easy inlay.
Yeah. Hey,
So thank you
Roger,
so much for
are you going
participating.
to AAW?
Are you here, Roger?
Yeah. Is he?
Who
Maybe not.
knows? People come in and then they leave and then they come back or they don't. And
Well, we need
thing
his
about it
address.
is though, if Roger doesn't fess up, we're not going to know how to get it to him. And
And
we're going to give this away again at another
yeah,
session.
because I don't recognize. Do you recognize Roger?
I don't know. Maybe I see a lot of names. I do. So, yeah, congratulations, Roger. Get in touch with either me or Scott, and we'll get your prize off to you.
Yeah.
And David, thank you so much for the feedback. And it's always a pleasure to have you in the audience. David is a big supporter of our online stuff. And yeah, this was fun. And I like the audience participation a lot. I like to see you folks put your input in, and that's just a compounding of the sharing that we do in wood turning that helps all of us to grow exponentially and learn more every day. So this was fun and we'll have to do it again, and I look forward to having you all be back here with us. It might not be Scott again, or it might be. You never know when that guy's going to make an appearance. He's a lot of fun. And so, well, we're about out of time. So I'm going to say good night, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good middle of the night, wherever you are in the world. Um, and thank you, Scott. Let's see you big on the screen here.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you inviting me. It's
There
always
he
great working
is.
with you. I think we work well together, and I'm always learning so much, which is really what it's about. It's just growing our own, knowledge and sharing. And I love this community because everybody, shares and is willing to do that. I can ask Cindy anytime a question, and she'll give it all. And so, email me if you got more questions. And we have a newsletter also through Easy Inlay and Imagine Grove. Imagine Grove is a design
Oh,
tip.
let me put that back up there. Hold on, hold on.
Yeah, so we have a newsletter that
Oh,
goes out
here's a
once.
couple of them. Here's where you can find Scott,
Yeah,
imaginewoodworking.com. And then you've got another thing here, and that is a discount code.
yeah. So check that out. And stop by and say hi. Again, I don't remember names. I'm more of a face and work kind of person. So if you're going to AAW, stop by the booth, meet Nancy, and say
Definitely.
hi.
Yeah, and I'll be there too at AAW next weekend. So until then,
Yeah.
thank you all so much for being here, and we will see y'all next time.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye.